Ellarku Swagata, Namaskaram, and welcome to everybody in the house. A super morning to everyone. Super morning to everyone. I'm sure you all had a great evening yesterday. I was there in the evening, and I could see that wonderful evening. So big thanks to Rishi and Exito and the entire team to put up this wonderful convention. And a huge applause for Rishi and the team. The slot which I have is we are going to talk about the Connect, the network, which we are here for, and how do we convert and how do we close our businesses, and that too in India and globally. So talking about Connect, rightly said by Shikha, that how many of us yesterday, obviously we chilled, had a great evening, but we connected 20 people, 40 and 1800. This is the purpose, what we actually invest our time for 2 nights, 3 days in this convention and other conventions wherever we go. So ultimately, Connect is basically, it's the network is our network, which is very widely said by many of them, but unconscious competence, how effectively we do it. So when we go to conventions, we look at, we normally meet the people we know, but we really don't explore or we feel shy to introduce ourselves to other delegates. But that's the purpose Exito is doing every year, once in India and one abroad. So this is a field which I think everybody in the house, if not done yesterday, should be doing today during the lunches or the high tea or the dinner. So what we're going to do it. So when we talk about network and when we talk about Connect, the best way to do is, normally we all belong to, well, somebody belongs to North, somebody belongs to South. We largely 90% or 80% of business we do in the region which we belong to. We don't explore other regions of our own country and part of the world. So first thing first, that when you go to conventions like this is when you actually explore more connects, get them meet each other, work with the partners you really wish like, working with them, and the spaces which we belong to is what we talk about. So when we started this, like the 21st year of our business, after getting in business for the first 8 years, we thought about expanding ourselves because I belong to Gujarat, and that's a territory which we used to operate. And the neighboring state was Maharashtra and Rajasthan. We largely used to focus on our business there. Then one day we said, now we are set in our spaces and we need to expand our horizons, so where do we go? The other place was thought about opening our office in Bombay, Delhi or Bangalore, like that. And then we thought, this is the spaces we already belong to. Why not we explore globally and then see, because Indians are all across the world. So the first choice anybody aspiring was America. So in the US, I just spent my 90 days in US and just say which are the territories, largely Indians or Asians are there, and we can do social events and be a part of the celebrations. Then realize the way we all Indians normally have our celebrations in Rajasthan or in Goa. So where does US and all Indian and Asians celebrate their occasions? And we identified Florida was a territory, normally Orlando, Miami, these are the places they celebrate. So we opened our first office, not anywhere in India, but we opened in Jupiter, Palm Beach. That's the place where we connected and we opened our horizons going to US. It was not easy, it was tough 12 years back when we were talking about an Indian wedding planner. If you see, ideally see Indian wedding industry boom in the last decade. It's not beyond that, it was very few community people to celebrate social events. So that's the time when we started 12 years back. They never knew Indian coming all the way from India and going to celebrate their occasions there. But forums like this helped us to reach out to people that the experiential Indian style wedding which we can curate, get cargoes from India and going to US with those cargoes, immigration, customs is not going to be easy. But normally we did a pilot project with 3 weddings, the leading Indian socialites there, and we give them confidence that we can do this. And believe me, that's how the network did not belong only to your geography, as I say, the space you belong to, or rest of the country. You can really, like Exito, when they do it once internationally and all those delegates come across the globe and they connect, is the reason which we did. So it took like 5 years for us to establish ourselves, give them confidence from a basic $200,000 wedding to a 1 million to 2 million to 5 million. So a small glimpse I would like to show you. This is a billionaire who's into healthcare. He wanted to celebrate his son's wedding in India, but when we give him an option that we can celebrate the same experience in your own country or the neighboring country, which was Bahamas, and we did a 240 people wedding, which was the 6 night, 7 day wedding, one of the longest wedding ever done by us. It was a Christmas wedding. We started on the 25th of December, ended on the 1st of January. The charters were flown in the pre-COVID time, and US was very strict on COVID norms, and we flew the charters from Boston to Bahamas, and this is the world's biggest Bahamas, Grand Hyatt in Bahamas, which is like 1,800 rooms, and it was celebrated there. A small glimpse to show about what Indian wedding experiences you can create through your network, which we have in US, and we give that experience. Who wanted to get married in India, in Jaipur, and we said, no, Spain, you don't need to, because of COVID, you can't travel all your guests to India, and even if you travel, then you scare off COVID. Still, we can create that experiences in US, and that too in Bahamas. A small glimpse. What I made a rule probably 6 years back, that when I rise in the morning, I make sure when I end my day, at least there are two different people who I don't know. Normally people go to YPOs, EOs, BNIs to connect for the new networks, but it's not limited to your geography. So I make sure, at least from the industry or from the client perspective, at least I need to know two different people who I have not connected. Like today, if we are there like 200 plus people in the forum, I might be able to meet at least 80 or 90 of them and not many, right, with the time constraint. But if at all I have a data of people who I have not met, I make a point to call them, first text them with the data which I have, and say, it was a good time to talk to you, I would like to get my introduced. There are times you don't get reverts, all right, when you proactively try to approach anyone. But there are times with the, that's my secretary who normally calls them and schedules an appointment, and then we talk to each other. So this, if you actually make a practice to at least know two people in a day. I'm sure by end of the month you have 40, 50 good prospects. At least you know the right people in the industry. Maybe the vendors, what you call our partners. You meet the event planners, you meet the designers, you meet the talent partners. So at least that day is counted. Slowly, gradually, believe me, at the end of the year you have amazing connects with you, which actually talks about positivity which you want to spread, in return you get in return. So it may be any geography across the globe, you shortlist your space, that I want to work in US, I want to work in Middle East, and you have those people on board. It's the content in the library which you have. So whenever you have businesses, exactly at the time when this connects come back in force and they become your live wire, and when you get in the space, ultimately what sells is knowledge. That if you pick up, if there are times where clients has already shortlisted a destination, let's go to Maldives. Then you already have your partners or somebody you know there in Maldives. He gives up a heads up, like, to go there and do a recce. So it's the time which you have, and you say that there's nothing much to do today. The best thing to do is, if you put this as a practice, believe me, unconscious competence, like by default it happens, and end of the month you actually evaluate. You see that yes, these are the contacts which you have made, and this really becomes fruitful.
Wow, what a great tip. And we'll continue on this. I'm sure people would have some questions on this. But for now, the video is ready, so let's have a look.
Please, thank you. The company is called Worldwide Weddings. So we specialize largely into destinations within India and internationally more. So this was the wedding which was proposed to be in India in Jaipur, and we convinced them to celebrate at the Bahamas with the same experience, the decor, what Indian weddings are all about. So there are times when your Reiki, your knowledge, the exposure towards the world works. So when we started with network, now we're talking about convert. So there are times clients nowadays, the new millennials really want international destinations to go and unwind a small group from 200, it goes to 500 to 700. So your exposure and the fam trips which educates you where to lead your clients to in the closer based on their budgets and their choices. It could be a palatial wedding in Europe, or it could be a beach wedding, or it could be anything. So what happens is when you really want to convert is the time when you have to have knowledge about which geography you are taking them, which part of the year it is, which is the season at that point in time, will they be able to celebrate it or not. So it's ultimately the knowledge which we share. So in convert, I would say conventions like this are must. You have to invest at least your 2 weeks in the whole year, maybe nationally, internationally. You need to go, make sure you party for sure, but then you rise early and meet everyone. Get international partners on board, because the next level, the next future, which you want to grow your enterprise from $1 million regular $1 million organization, which only can happen if you have international destinations. Big weddings do happen in India, alright, but there are many players in that space who actually are competing with you. But international spaces, if you start investing now, believe me, 3 years, 4 years now, the huge amount of weddings will go out of India. India is such a huge country. There is a potential of growth in India as well. But I have seen, if you really want to double your turnovers, make it more organized. Now, if you talk about India, our Prime Minister is always talking about, as an industry, we are not getting that recognition compared to other industries like real estate, agriculture. The huge amount of component is in cash. So when you do international weddings or with the corporate weddings, which corporate houses, there's a huge amount of white income which you get in. So your enterprise is only recognized when you have your own balance sheets are very strong. When we're talking about conversion, I would say the best example was Gujarat as a model state. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he was the Chief Minister in Gujarat, is to Vibrant Gujarat. During Vibrant Gujarat, we made Gujarat and India on a global platform. And that got huge conversion for industries to come to Gujarat through this convention called Vibrant Gujarat. There are so many international companies and countries participating. Participating, and that got us India on a global map. And today when we are talking about digital India, global India, there's so much investments coming, so much international conferences coming in, MICE which is happening in huge size from Delhi now going across the country. So when we are talking about going global, is the same time we inviting people to our country as well, to doing destinations wedding. Born and raised Indian families want to celebrate in India, be it Jodhpur, Udaipur, Jaipur, where across in Goa, wherever. So there is a huge potential to go out and make millions. There's a huge potential to get international clients to celebrate occasions in India. So conversion is very important. That is only possible. You have right channel partners with you. You have right DMCs working with you. You have equally national exposure. We already fortunately have, because the kind of amount of time you invest in India. If you decide for the next 1 year, if you spend 25-30% of your time to go global, invest your time and money and efforts and destinations which you think your geography you belong to, you like to celebrate, that 25% time if you invest, believe me, that is going to get you huge business, which is already Indian business is there in place. But international business, if you invest that 25% of time, that gets you going. And believe me, everybody wants to go year by year in terms of size, scale, design, decor, talent, everything. So when you do international, there's huge amount of maturity you need, huge amount, obviously for funds and the budgets follow, but at the same time responsibility goes multi-fold. So that thing gets on to, there's the next level which we are looking, in particular in terms of weddings, which we are talking about. That is an amazing opportunity internationally, and the best thing is gratitude. When you service a client internationally and when you actually give him a dream wedding of their choice, believe me, there's huge amount of reputation which you make, amazing revenues you make, the gratitude to a next level from the artists, from the decor companies, from the client itself. So we have seen, obviously gratitude is there in our country as well, but when you fulfill that dream going out from here and abroad and executing a wedding like this, what we did in Bahamas, Believe me, that's a lifelong relationship which we cultivated, and based on that wedding, fortunately it was recognized the best international wedding of the year at the BOW Awards in Gold category, and that get us a lot of inquiries, and US just follows digital. Alright, that's a person-to-person PR which happens in the US. Recommendations do happen, but digitally nowadays is so strong that it helps you in conversion. So how effective you are on Instagram, you are on LinkedIn, you are on Facebook, you are on Twitter, that gets you huge. So that amount of 20% of time, even if you are not able to give your time, you ideally should be hiring a company who is amazing in that space, gives content obviously given by you, but that space which you digitally, if you are very aggressive and right posting, it's not how frequent you do it, but at least once a week, at least your posts have to be there, and believe me, that gets you good conversion also. We've seen many times what good work you've done only limited to your clients and your own network, but if it is amplified on a digital platform, it also helps you good conversion. That has been practiced very often, which you are seeing. And the best, we are talking about network, convert and close, but I see a different C also into this, which has helped us and made us really successful the way we are. And I would say, I'll leave it on the crowd. Do you see the nearest another C which comes to your mind? It is network, convert and close. I see the another C is called collaboration. If you really collaborate with the right people of your industry, all right, where two different energies unite together and take it to a next level, the collaboration is going to be the next bus. You can't have your offices across India or across the globe. So right collaboration happens. There are conventions like this where you meet people and you think these two energies can unite together and make it more successful with the collaboration. So I will give an excellent example of collaboration which we did. There was one client of ours who wanted to celebrate very clearly in Antalya because it was an all-inclusive destination. And they picked up the best hotel called MARRIOTT, which is amongst top 20, the topmost family resort on the world map. That was one wedding which we are looking. And because of the convention, there's a gentleman called Mr. Pratik Tandon from Cooper Events, Copper Events, was there. And he was also looking for an hotel in Antalya. So when we were doing a recce, I happened to meet him there. I knew he stayed in Antalya. I said, what are you looking? He said, I have a 600 people wedding and we are looking for a Mardan Palace. And this was the time when the third wedding also happened, came to his kitty. So what happened, we all collaborated together. We made all three clients convinced to celebrate at Max Royal. Max Royal is one of the highest premium hotels in Antalya, above Mardan Palace. I said, if we do at the best place and we connect all three weddings together, and the cost of production, cost of F&B, cost of artist, talent, everything can be put in together. And wedding after wedding, in a series we had like 15 days, 3 weddings happening. It was all 3 night, 4 days, so obviously you need a day before and after for that. And we all came on one page. A wedding which was like 5 million euros came down to 3 million euros. Imagine 2 million euros were the benefit to every client. So what happens is collaboration. So when you collaborate together, there is size of a wedding which was of 5 million euros came down to 3 million euros. Huge saving of 2 million euros is like humongous. And everybody got together. Different guest list, different families, infrastructure remained the same. Obviously, some design decor things changes. But because of the collaboration which we did, everybody got benefited. So small AV on that, the wedding, which was till date Turkey's biggest infrastructure wedding. It was on the white sand beach, which was the wedding. The decking of the wedding venue was 80,000 square feet. Never happened in Antalya ever till now. The first time A330s flew from India to Antalya directly, which has never flown in the history of Indian wedding industry. So because of collaboration, what happened? Every family taking a commercial flight from Bombay to Istanbul to Antalya, by the time the guest reaches the venue, they're exhausted. But had been one wedding, it would have taken a commercial route. Just because we collaborated all 3 weddings together, we could fly. That one leg which came in free and had to go back. We collaborated and did it. So it was like one of the amazing weddings with 750. So 600 guests was the wedding guest size. Just because of collaboration and the money we saved, the guest list from 600 went to 750 guests. So they could oblige more guests. Same time they flew A330s. At the same time, 80,000 square feet of decking could happen because with ladies with the stilettos and all, they couldn't walk on the white sand. The daughter wanted the white sand beach wedding. We constructed 80,000 square feet with a pearl white finish of the carpet. A small video will see, you can see what size of wedding, can happen if we collaborate together and make it a larger than life experience. Danchal Heavy, please. This is Sundowner to start with. This is that 80,000 square feet of decking on the White Sand Beach.
चाप तिलक सब छीनी रे उसे नैना मिलाई के हो चाप तिलक सब छीनी रे उसे नैना मिलाई के नैना मिलाई के सैना मिलाई के नैना मिलाई के सैना
for your time. It was, sorry, a long video. Didn't edit it anyway. Thank you very much. And so this is what I would say: convert, collaborate, network, and close. So with God's grace, with our network, with our collaborations, and with the connect which we have been effective to do this year. One of the finest wedding which we are working in at the Caribbean islands, at the Virgin Islands. It's called the smallest island in the Caribbean, called Mosquito Island. So it's the place where we are doing an Indian wedding, which is a challenge because forget Indian wedding, there's no celebrations that happen on that island. So doing weddings at the island like Bahamas, where you don't have liver, you don't have Indian food, you don't have everything. Everything is to be imported from the rest of the world. So Egypt, maybe Boston, which we're doing this October, or Egypt, we'll be doing at the Sharm el-Sheikh, and we're doing at the Caribbean islands. So it's all possible with the network which we normally practice, get connected with people, getting to the right channel partners, the right DMCs is the reason. So I say unconsciously, like make it a part of your practice that, as I said, once in a day, twice, thrice in a week if your time doesn't permit you with your busy schedule. But if you really connect within your geography and internationally, get international business to India, take Indian business to international, that's the buzz. So resting my words with network, connect, convert and close. This is what is my take that everybody in the house should practice. I'm sure there's a better tomorrow for all of us. Thank you so very much. Thank you everyone for your time and attention. Thank you Rishi, thank you Kushi and everybody at Exito to put this wonderful convention. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you all. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you.